Hi everyone! In this video, I'll be talking about my process for creating background character assets, or character extras, as they're more aptly called, for my webcomics Beneath the Camphor Tree and The Chable's Bodyguard. In my previous video, I talked about my process of creating an episode for one of my comics from start to finish, and I'll link to that video and in the description below if you're curious about my process. I don't know about you, but I tend to get a bit intimidated about the idea of drawing a ton of characters in one panel. It honestly feels a little daunting and has in the past deterred me from creating scenes or panels with background characters in them. So, what is a workaround to this? One that I like to use is creating and using background character assets, or extras as they're sometimes called. And you have two main options for using these, and I'll get into those later. Neither of these options are probably comprehensive, which means there's maybe more than that, but these are the two that I know of. So what do I mean when I say background character extras or assets? So I'm talking about images that fit your story, theme, or comic environment that are pre-created and ready to just drop into your story or panel. If you're using Clip Studio Paint, this is super simple and easy to do, since you can register a character image as a material and it will live in your material library ready to just drag and drop into your comic panel. If you don't have time or just don't want to draw your own background characters, sites like Acon3D and I believe even CSP's Asset Store library has lots of options for you to purchase from. However, I like creating my own background characters when possible because it allows the background characters to match the style and look of the main characters. Personally, I like this because it allows the characters across the board to look like they belong in the same world. So these are the steps I take to make background character assets or extras for my comics. So let's first go over when you'd want to create a background character asset and when you'd like to just draw the character organically from scratch. So here are some reasons to make or obtain or purchase pre-made assets. 1. They're being used in a panel with general perspective, aka you could reuse the asset again without much difficulty. And 2, it saves a lot of time in the long run. It might initially take some time to create them or research them or buy them, but in the long run, I find it really saves a lot of time and effort. And reasons to make a character from scratch as you're making the episode or panel. 1 is that the panel is from a unique perspective. 2, the character interacts with the environment and or the main characters in a way that cannot be achieved with a pre-made asset. And 3, the characters look more unique and have less risk of being recognized by readers. Sometimes pre-made character assets can be noticed if you repeatedly use them a lot. This isn't a huge issue, but can cause some continuity issues and or confusion to your readers if they think they're supposed to pay attention to that character because they recognize them. There are, of course, more reasons in both of these categories, but these are just some things to keep in mind. So I should have already shown some examples of where I have used background character assets that I have created into my comics Beneath the Camphor Tree, but I need to make some more since it's been a while since I last created some assets. The first thing I do is I decide what is needed. What assets, as far as character assets go and character extras, do you already have and what is lacking versus what is needed in your upcoming scenes? 2. For me, at this time, I'm going to create some royal guards, since I'm about to create some panels that feature a great many guards in each panel. If you're making a story that requires research for clothing and culture, now is the time to do some of that. Or to gather reference for clothing ideas, bag or backpack ideas, shoes, etc. Please remember not to directly copy any particular outfit you see online, especially if it is editorial, but it is always a good idea to gather lots of reference to make sure your assets look natural in their environment. 4. I start sketching. I create each sketch in its old folder on its own layer. As a side note, I like to create 3 to 4 different versions of the same sketch. This is because I'm lazy and it allows me to have more variety with the least amount of work. For example, I'll have the same or similar outfit slash pose slash body basic body structure, but different hair, skin color, or expression to change it up and have more options to choose from. Once I'm satisfied with the look of the characters, I'll finish the artwork. So now that the artwork is done, I just need to register it as a material. And how I do this is I select the entire folder that the artwork is in per character. That's why I separated it. I go to Edit, Register as Material, and click Image. You change the name to your desired name, choose the save location, and you're good to go. Click OK. And the great thing about doing it as a folder, like with all the working files, the layers in with it, instead of just registering it as a flattened PNG or as a flattened image, is that you can play around with it later on. So if you like that one character's pose and that one character's outfit, but you want to change the skin color or the eye color or even the clothing color, you can do that after the fact because it's all saved in the folder versus like a flattened image. And now I'm just going to show you real quick how I would utilize one of these background character assets. So this is a little bit of a spoiler, but a panel from a future episode of Beneath the Camphor Tree. And I'm just going to simply drag and drop the character asset I just made into the panel. I add some simple shading just to make it match the scene a little bit more, and then blur the background just so that they're not in the focus and we're not forced to look at them and think we're supposed to pay attention to them. And that's it. That's how I use these character assets. And it's really simple. It's really easy. Like I said, you could always buy the asset at a site like Acon 3D or at the Clip Studio Paint asset store. But I like to make my own when I can, and when I have the time to, just so that they match the feel and the look of the comic that I'm making. And that's how I make background character assets for my comics. And I hope this video was educational and not too boring and not too flustered. I did have a script, but these last few segments were not scripted, as always. And I hope you have a great day, and I will see you soon in my next video. Thanks, bye.